Hey everybody, it's Chris, and I'm here with the Chile report. A little talk about things that are happening in Chile and some light commentary, and we'll see what happens. I'm just watching the World Cup right now, and I'm looking at Canada beating Qatar 6-0. So they're getting a new one ripped out of them. So that's pretty embarrassing. Reminds me of the when they had a game against Mexico. I forgot against who, but I remember like 7 years ago, Mexico like got 7-0 against some team. I forgot who it was, but it was a game like years ago. So I'm lightly surprised if the United States actually goes further than they have in the past in the World Cup. They're not a bad team, but again, soccer, football, what have you, is not exactly the number one sport in the United States, so it's going to be something that's going to be pleasantly surprising. They're already slated to win the Australia match, 60%, it says on the predictions, but they already won 4-0 or 4-1, I believe, against Paraguay, which is they're not a bad team, Paraguay. So I don't suspect, people are going to be saying, well, they're not a great team, and blah, 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 but make of that what you will. But that was something that I thought that was an interesting thing to notice. So, oh well. All right, well, let's get right into it. It's going to be not a very long video. I want to keep it short as possible. If you want to make any comments or anything like that, just jump in whenever you want. I wanted to take a look at one of the big stories that I've been waiting for a while now is apparently the installation of why can't I see my face? I can't see my face. Can you see my face? Oh, there I am. Okay. Hello. Okay, well, the installation begins on the cable cars that are going to be connected. Well, wait a second. Is this how it's going to look? I don't want everybody to look at exactly what I'm doing, so that's kind of bad. So let's go to here and wait, maybe I have to do it this way. Oh, I don't know. Okay. I'm new to this, so we'll take a look. Installation begins on the 121 cabins for the bicentennial cable cars that's going to connect Providencia and Huancabamba. 13 minutes. Now, my thing is this going to be a tourist thing, or is this going to be a real mode of transportation for people who actually work in Santiago? So it says here, this Thursday marked the start of the installation of 121 cabins for the Bicentennial Cable Car, the country's first public cable transport system, and one of the projects that most excites the inhabitants of the metropolitan region. It's actually a good thing because it's going to connect the Huertaraba neighborhood where they have I think it's called Ciudad Empresarial neighborhood, which is like a growing industrial um, neighborhood, business district, more like it, with the very, very congested, popular area near the Costanera Mall. And so that will be very, very good because a lot of people that come to visit Chile, and we know they all stay in that area. It's one of the most expensive areas in the entire country, but excuse me, but it's not exactly. It's like kind of a bubble. When I first moved here years ago, I noticed that there's like on the Upper East Side of Santiago. That's where a lot of the people who have a lot of money and whatnot, they live on that area. So but that's like a small percentage of the city. Now, other parts of the city is growing, but like for example, we could take a look at a map of Santiago, Chile, because there's going to be another one. Let's take a look at. All right, this looks pretty well. Maybe this looks even better. I don't know why you can't just click on it. It clicks on the page. I don't want to see the page. Okay. All right. Well, this is basically the neighbor. Well, can I make it smaller? Okay, whatever. They had to convert there. No, convert to US, yes. Okay. So, um, if you look here, this whole area, right in that area, right in that little corner, that's where the basically the cable car is going to go from here to this area. There's a big mountain like right there. It's like right in there. It's called Cerro San Cristobal. So it's going to connect right in that area. But this whole area right here, this is the rich area. Just so if anybody's new, there's like a little bit of a, how do I say, humble area in this part of the area, but that's not as bad as people think. But this whole area is the rich area. This area right here, this is basically middle class. This area's got some trouble behind it. So does Puente Alto. A lot of good people live in Puente Alto, but they're having problems with crime in that neighborhood. And Maipú, that's pretty good. That's like the a growing municipality in Santiago, and they have the metro now to there. I live way out here, so I live way on the west side of town. So, and of course, Santiago Center. That's where a lot of the not movers and shakers, but a lot of the classic parts of downtown is that's where that is. So it will connect from basically here to here. It'll go right over a mountain. So that'll be something really fun to see if they get that installed. I don't know when it's going to be uh, ready to go, but the supervision of works, that's how they translate things in Google. Um, Basically, the Public Works Ministry, led by the Transport and Works Minister, Luis de Grange, along with the mayors of Providencia and Huechuraba, Jaime Belolio and Maximiliano Luxic. Speaking of money, Luxic, one of the richest people in the country, inspected the assembly of the structures manufactured by Switzerland by the firm. I have no idea what the hell you spell that. Doppelmayr. The initiative, which involves an investment of $80 million, aims to reduce the congestion in the eastern and northern sectors of the capital. I want to see how much this is going to cost. I'm talking about. It says it's going to be like 13 minutes, and the network's opening deadlines. To date, the civil works for the mega transport are projected for 85% complete. And when will it be ready? The mayor of the municipality, Maximiliano Luxic, praised the social impact of the structure. The system will have potential to transport 3,000 passengers per hour. Per hour. Give me a break. Per hour. Okay. If the schedule is met, it'll be in the testing phases to begin operations during the first quarter of 2027. No word on how much it will cost. So I have no idea about that. So, well, that's an interesting thing to think about. So we'll take a look at that closely as time goes on. Another story that I found interesting was, can you lose your money if you don't use your beep card? I never even thought this was a thing. It says here public transport users had filed a lawsuit against the company seeking 54 billion in damages because the funds on their cards had expired. I didn't know that was a thing. Are you kidding me? This is what the court said. Okay, I got to see this. By the way, if you ever check the news from one of the news channels here, CNN, Chile, Chilevisión, Mega, TVN, they are the worst for pop-ups. I I think they're great news organizations, but oh my God, online, they are the worst for pop-up ads. I mean, just to get this cooking for you guys, they had a lot of pop-ups that I had to just keep kidding out and deleting and everything. So it says here, the Santiago Court of Appeals upheld the ruling that dismissed a class action lawsuit led by the National Corporation of Consumers and Users, CONADUS, against Metro due to the expiration of the balance on their beep card. They're seeking 54 billion. That's in pesos, so it's like, I don't know, 54 million, maybe, or 54, I don't know, that 54 can't be right, 54 billion pesos. I don't know if that's right. For users whose funds on the public transport card in Santiago had expired. I never knew this could be a thing. However, the Congress, the third chamber of deputies, apparently does not constitute an infringement of the Consumer Rights Protection Act. How's that possible? Therefore, balances have a maturity date? Are you kidding? Oh my God. Okay, it says here, according to what the court determined, the loss of validity of the balance corresponds to a regulation designed by the sectorial authority and applied to in a general way. Does not allow by itself to configure a consumer offense. Can you imagine if you have like an old beep card and you haven't used and you get on and you get inspected by one of the inspectors that periodically stop buses. They have like roadblocks, and if you are, they come on board the bus, they stop it. It takes about 10 minutes, if that, and they check. They have like a little machine, and they can check if you paid or didn't pay. And if you didn't pay, you got to come off. If you give them a hassle, they're kind of an arrow police officer down there waiting. So they just give you a ticket. It's like 50,000 pesos, but you are susceptible to being put on their list of people who do not pay, and that could cause problems for things that you need in the future, like getting passports, or to some people they say, you're not going to be allowed to go to soccer matches. So, but I want to know is this confirms that balances on beep cards do have an expiration date, but what is it? Okay, the balance is subject to expiration after 2 years of inactivity, which can be extended for one more year. So there you have it. You don't use your beep card in 2 years, they get to keep your money. How's that? Isn't that nice? Oh my God, I can't believe that. So I hope that, am I like, could you guys read? Oh well. So kind of a very ugly thing to worry about. Let's take a look at something else. I want to take a look at what is a sopapilla from Chile. Okay, I'm going to translate this for everybody so they know what in the God's name am I talking about here. Okay, so let's go to share the total pantalla. Yes. Okay. No, I don't want to do that. Do I want to do that? No, that doesn't look so good. Let's try that again. Not a very good expert on this type of thing, but there it is. Okay. Okay, so what is a sopapilla? Am I seeing my glasses around this place? Okay, lost my glasses. I'm blind. Okay, it says here a Chilean sopapilla is a traditional fried dough made with wheat flour and pumpkin. I gotta put on my glasses that I don't have. Happy Halloween. Which gives its characteristic yellow color. It is consumed all year round, especially on rainy days. I don't know why. Either alone with pebre, avocado, or submerged in a hot chanca sauce. We look at some of the uh, pictures. Let's take a look at the images. That looks pretty nice. Pretty good. I've had these before. Let me just give you a big piece of advice. Don't eat it with cream cheese, or you're gonna pay the price. I did that, and you got to be careful. They sell these in the street. Um, I've always made the joke that there's two types of sopapillas in Chile. There's the small ones. If you're eating a small one with a little what they call pebre, like a type of topping to it, which is basically tomato, cilantro, lemon, and some other stuff. It means you're in a nice, elegant restaurant in Vitacura, having a nice time. If you're eating a bigger one with ketchup and mustard or something like that, it basically means you're downtown waiting for the next bus back to Puente Alto. So there's 2 types of sopapillas. So those are the but I like them both, but you have to be careful because I'm not a big fan of eating street food. I'm kind of picky about food from food trucks that even in the United States, we have food trucks and everybody loves them. I'm a little picky about eating in places where there's no running water, so where people are not washing their hands. And a lot of places, restaurants, believe it or not, they don't use gloves or anything like that. If you ever go to like the McDonald's out on Route 68 going toward Valparaiso, where they have like a million kids working at this McDonald's, none of them use gloves, and so make of that what you will. And they have a monopoly on the fast food going out that way. So there's like no other, they're the only game in town. So if you're into that and you need something to eat before you head on out to the coast, not much available for that. But you got to be careful if you're eating food in the street. Um, there was a story about 1 year ago, maybe two, where a little girl, she ate a kebab, what they call here in Chile, they call it a anticucho, but it's like a kebab, and with whatever meat, and she got sick. And they took her to the hospital and they did an x-ray and they found that she had a chip, a pet chip, like for animals, in her system. Not only did they I don't know what animal meat it was, could have been a cat, could have been a dog, but either way, it was somebody's pet. They couldn't even take a street dog. They just took somebody's pet, which obviously means they probably had a collar, but they didn't care. So the girl had a chip in her stomach. Make of that what you will, because that's why I never eat that type of food, especially in certain parts of downtown Santiago or near Estación Central, which is not good. I mean, and particularly in the area near Cali Canto, which was like 100 years ago, that was like the Manhattan of Santiago that had the first 4-star, 5-star hotel. They had the Mapocho train station. They had the Central Market. It was like the best place. It was like Times Square. Now it looks kind of bad. I hope with the opening of the new metro line that's going to be going through there, Line 3, it's going to be a little better, but it's really not pretty because they have a lot of street vendors selling food that you don't know how they're preparing it, and that's why they get angry about that when the police show up or the health department shows up and says, "You guys can't be selling this," and they confiscate everything, and they get really rowdy about it and start screaming and yelling and getting violent, but we don't want little kids with chips in their stomach. So that's why they come down there and do that. It's not about, "Oh, well, this food is bad," or it's not, it's because you don't know how they're preparing food. There's no regulations. Nobody's regulating what they're doing in their houses or homes. And obviously, if they're using questionable meat, so you got to be careful when you're out in Santiago. I don't eat at places that sell in the street. Yeah, it's more economical, of course, but you're rolling the dice if you're doing that. So sopapillas, they sell those in the street too, but you got to really know the person who's selling them. So, again, I don't buy anything on the street in the center of Santiago. If it's somebody in my neighborhood that's selling it, and I have trust with them, yeah, maybe I'll buy from them, but I'm not going to buy from a stranger, and especially downtown Santiago. So forget it. All right, well, that's all I got tonight. Tomorrow, I hope you guys are going to be watching the United States versus Australia game. That's gonna be fun to watch. I think it's like 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I don't know. So I'm gonna check that out later. So that's gonna be really cool. So maybe I hope to hear some comments from you guys about what you guys think about anything that I've mentioned tonight. So hopefully you guys have a good evening. Talk to you later, and bye bye.